Oh, oh my God. All right. Well, oh. Wait, too low? What do you mean? What do you mean it's too low? Is that better? Ah, fuck me, man.
Fighters ready. Engage.
Oh, oh. Oh my God, it's so good to be a small, tiny, little Japanese ninja girl instead of a big body buff. What even? I don't even know where Urian's from. Anyways, it's a lot easier to get out of stuff with her. Oh!
With some of these newer developers to create badass fighting games. Gootecks has the knowledge. Thank you. Hey, people know where to find me, man. It's just I don't spend a lot of time like going around telling people like, hey, like you should hire me to do this or that or whatever. The other thing is I don't know shit about development. All I know is what makes something good or what makes something work. But I don't have like a technical development background or anything like that. That shit. And that's why I prefer to work for the people. Because then everything, you know, then like we're in control, right? Like, oh, you don't like this? Oh, whatever. Fucking don't pay for it. Don't buy it. Turn it off. Don't click. Unfollow, mute, and block. That's fine. There's still, you know, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of other people out there that we can reach instead. You know, because it's just easier to sell. I mean, it's just easier to do things that way. I don't know. It works better for me. Yeah.
Final round. Go.
This motherfucker jumped over and supered. Get... Sure, okay. Get... Okay, alright, okay. Okay.
Oh no! Oh.
There's the SPD. He's going to dash up.
Oh, no jump back. He has been so patient on defense. It's actually banking on it.
Ah, yeah, so... Alright, stand medium punch, +2. And... Let's see, what did he go into?
Buffer into the crack.
Early.
Totally don't mind just stealing all of Xian's shit.
efficiently, in the neutral, but that time the jump in was telegraphed. Look for the frame.
Oh, he went for the crush counter right there.
Thank you. We're just trying to democratize it. All right. Anyways, are we gonna cut to commercial? I already forgot. All right, whatever. No, yeah, we're gonna cut to commercial. All right, yeah, all right. We're gonna cut to commercial. Oh, right. I'm pretty sure there's a Justin Wong video. Oh, please tell me Justin Wong video. GameStop. Cut the lights. Play Justin Wong.
How to get into the fighting game.
You win.
What kind of name is that? Very anonymous name. No waifu, no anime waifu in the profile photo. Are you like a productive member of society or something? You must be. You must be your own boss. This dude. Yeah. This dude's sending me $20 on a Friday afternoon without an anime waifu avatar. This guy's got a. Well, look at. Oh. Saru Suberi University. After a lifetime of training, I can finally live like an ordinary girl. What? Exploring the campus, making new friends. Oh, I'm so excited. Hi there, cutie. Why don't you join my club? It's so fun. You'll never leave. What? Wait, and so I devoted myself to the fun activities of the club every day. I received painful endurance training under the senior's guidance. I train on the surface of the water. Oh, I think she means under. And practice riding on a kite in a raging storm. Hey, wait a minute. Ha ha ha, Ibuki, you've still got a blind side. Oh, what the fuck? If you're careless like that, I'll cut your carotids off next time. I can tell that you love the excitement of studying ninjutsu. What? This is not what I expected. She was trying to get out of the ninja life. What? That's the end?
Now.
Turns out that in America, the U.S. dollar is not connected to the we're not attached to the gold standard anymore. Meaning that in the 70s, Richard Nixon took the country off of the gold standard. Oh my God. All right. Well. God damn it. Oh, I see. Whoops. Yeah. All right. Well, it helps to press the right button, right? Fuck. All right. All right. Let's start all of that over. What's up, guys? It's Gootecks. It's also Tuesday, and Tuesdays are a great day for training. Really just like every other day. But why is it that Tuesday lends itself to training so well? Well, it might be because maybe you live in LA, or maybe you live in SoCal or NorCal or New York, and maybe you have Wednesday night fights or Battle Circuit to go to tomorrow. Or maybe you went to a tournament this weekend and you spent Monday getting home, and now Tuesday you're back in action. Or maybe Tuesdays are good for training because they both start with T. I don't know. Only time will tell. But anyways, we got, I thought I would do some of my own, training and lab work and whatnot, but also wanted to, actually, first and foremost, it's freaking cold. So, don't mind me. I'm just all bundled up in this hoodie. It's, feels silly to turn on the heater. Cause it's cold. It's just not that cold, but it is cold, but it was a lot colder earlier. Well, I mean, if your hot economics teacher said that, it sounds like the truth to me. She definitely knew what she was talking about. But I think at some point we'll have a more organized way to collect questions and whatnot. But just actually, oh man. Let's see. Hold on, let me make sure that I have. Let me know. Hold on. Let's just make sure that this. Oh yeah, no, it's totally fine. It's like the PC had to settle down a little bit. Yeah, man, dude, it's cold. Ooh. That's right. Dev Copper, Terry 1996, AMG Zant. Oh, all right, cool. Here's, yeah, all right, yeah. Here's a good question. Oh, man. Oh, there's a lot. Oh, there's a lot to that. Okay. This is a good one. Oh, man. Where do I even start? How do I do this? Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me just make sure that I have a good way to. Let me just make sure I have a good way to capture some of these questions. Because I might end up making like future videos based on some of your questions. Where should I put this? Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna put it here. Okay. That's right. That's right, Repartier. We are back in business. It's not worse. You know what I mean? If anything, it might be just a little tiny bit better. Oh. Nope. Oh, whoops. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Oh, okay, yeah, actually that's a little bit better. All right, yeah, that's a good one too. Oh, man, this is, oh, okay, right, okay. All right, here we go. Typing for the views. Yeah. I'm like, I'm typing the commands to send all of my view bots to come watch the stream. You got me. Damn, what am I gonna do? I've been found out. All right. So let me think about this. Let me think about this first question, right? So, okay. 64 on Twitch. 64 on Twitch wants to know. When you learned Ibuki a few weeks ago, what notes were you taking exactly? And why? And how did they differ from the Street Fighter 4 notes you took when you learned Rose? That's a good question. Let me see if I can dig this stuff up first so I can show you guys what I can show you guys the notes that I took. And then, even though, to be honest, there's not that much. But I can walk you guys through it. Let me just let's see. Oops. Okay, here we go. All right, now we're gonna zoom in, enhance. Whoa. Okay. Let me know if you can see that. Or, okay, maybe that's better. Okay, I think that's better. Let me know. Let me know if you hate it. You guys follow that subreddit? TIHI, thanks, I hate it. Yeah. Best and worst. Oh, all right, hold on. Okay. So okay. All right. Where do we start? So, the question is like, what was in your Ibuki notes, and how may they have been? How are they different compared to, any Rose notes that you had in Street Fighter 4? So, it's pretty good question. I would say that, yeah. So what I tried to do was, let me start with like, this is probably the first time that I've done the notes kind of like this. But basically, I kind of just started from... I started with... I guess I started with looking at the frame data to see where the frame traps were. You can see here in my Airtable notes... that they're kind of separated into 3-frame and 4-frame frame traps. Now, why is this important? Well, some characters have a 3-frame normal and other characters have a 4-frame normal. Generally, the characters with the 4-frame normals tend to be a little bit bigger and slower, maybe have a little bit more health. So the flip side is that you get different combos, typically, I don't know, maybe more damaging combos on a 4-frame character than you could on a 3-frame character. The other reason why it's important is because if you have a 4-frame frame trap, or a frame trap with a 4-frame gap, then if you're playing an opponent that's mashing really hard or mashing really smart with a 3-frame normal, that would mean that your frame trap is not going to work because they'd be able to mash out. So basically what I guess like where I started was by going to fullmeter.com, which has FAT online, frame assistant tool, which is a great app on iOS and Android. And so I would go to the Ibuki page, and then basically, let's say after I either before or after. I don't know. I mean, if you're not super familiar with the character and you have like a little bit of time, you should probably first go through all the normals. But I don't know, maybe I was in a hurry, or maybe I just felt like I could just skip ahead in the process because I don't know. But anyways, so if you click on the columns on top, then it'll sort the frame data by that particular column. So you can see that it starts, it's white, yellow, and red color coded. Oh, and dark red color coded for the super unsafe stuff. And the white stuff, the rows or columns that are white, are generally safe. So what can we learn from this? Well, generally being +2 on block in Street Fighter V is good, because if you are +2 and then have a move that starts up in 5 frames, the 3-frame gap makes it so that if they try to tech, if they think you're going to throw and they try to tech, they get hit, you score a counter hit. If they hit a button because they're mashing, and they'll get hit and you get a counter hit. So +2 is really important if you're, especially if you're fighting a character with a 3-frame normal. So what I'll do is, look at the moves, look at the normals with the most frame advantage, which in this case is low jab, standing medium kick, standing medium punch. So these are like 3 good places to start. And then first, as you can see here, I'll try to look for that 3-frame gap, which means that I'm looking for something that has a 5-frame startup or less. But you really don't need it to be less, because typically if it's less, it's not gonna, maybe it's not gonna combo, or it's not gonna connect, whatever. So you can see that from from these 3 moves, you can go into your 5-frame, basically like your only 5-frame normal, which is standing medium punch, which is also cancelable, and it's +4 on hit, which means that it would be +6 on counter hit. Now, if you hit the standing medium punch and score a counter hit, being +6 is quite significant, because that would mean that you could go into your standing medium kick with a 6-frame startup, which goes into the target combo, or you could do crouching medium punch, which is also cancelable. So what I did was sort of just went in here to look. So it starts with low jab and then goes to standing medium punch. So low jab +2 on block, and then standing medium punch is +5, or has a 5-frame startup. So that leaves a 3-frame gap. And then assuming that you got that counter hit, then it would go into crouching medium punch into Raida, which is the hit command grab. But I think it's also worth mentioning that this would also... Oh, there we go. This would also go into EX Kunai. I don't know why I didn't have it in there, but I don't know. It wasn't in there. So, and you can see right here, this second frame trap is the other follow-up that I was mentioning just a moment ago, where after standing medium punch counter hit, then you can go into the target combo. So this is the one that's standing medium kick into the sweep, into heavy kick, and then you can cancel into the command jump or the command dash. So that one is like, there's reset potential here, because afterwards, if you do the command dash or the command jump, depending on where you are on the screen, maybe you're going to the other side, or maybe they just sort of have to eat the mix up when they land from being reset. Yeah, where is this document? Great question. Here, let me make this. Oh, here we go. I'm just gonna. How do I put this in here? I don't have this. I don't have the chat. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me see if I can just pop this in here. Maybe this will go to both channels. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Yeah, all right. Pop that in there. So, where were we? And so, generally, I like to, I don't know, it might just be like the OCD in me, but, I will definitely take the time to write down the damage and the stun, as well as the knockdown advantage for each sequence. Yeah, I mean, I categorized this. This one is a knockdown. This one's a knockdown. These two are resets. This actually might be the same one twice. Oops. Hold on. Let me just delete that. But essentially, I just sort of try to construct some basic offense from up close just by looking at the numbers. Some people will say, Street Fighter V is boring because, you always see the same things and people don't have their own individual styles. Maybe, but the other way to look at it is that in this game, it's just way easier to just play by the numbers. Not to say that you should always play by the numbers, but you have to know the rules before you can break them. Oh, that's a good question too. You got to play by feel, play from your heart. I don't really believe that you can play by feel or play by heart without really understanding the rules. It's just not going to be as effective. The truth is somewhere in the middle. So I looked at the 3-frame, this was sort of like the basics of like the 3-frame gap, or how do I put this? Trying to find 3-frame gaps first. You know, it's kind of like the first order of business. And then the second was, you know, looking at 4-frame gaps. And so again, we can kind of go back to sorting by the moves that are plus on block. So again, standing medium punch, crouching light punch, both of them are +2. And as you can see here, this goes nicely. The standing medium punch or crouching light punch would both go into standing medium kick or crouching medium punch. I don't actually know if I had both. Oh yeah, see, like this one, standing medium punch +2, standing medium kick, crouching medium punch. Yeah, so this, I don't know, it could be a little bit, I don't know. I don't know if these are all optimal. This was just sort of like day one, like total starting point type of thing. So I didn't really have a whole lot in here before I guess took it online. Because remember, if you guys were paying attention that day, like the whole thing started because I was watching Southeast Asia Majors replays, and then just sort of spontaneously try to learn Ibuki in Street Fighter 5. So, you know, it was not like most things involving good old Gootecks. There was not a whole lot of planning or thought. I just kind of do stuff. Yeah, what frame data site do I use? I use fullmeter.com, which also makes FA tool, frame assistant tool. So once I had this stuff in here, and I even have a column for like, oh, how much bar does it need? You know, I don't know. To me, it's helpful to look at the numbers and then essentially construct everything myself so that I'm like reading it, I'm writing it, and then I'm doing it, you know, like, cause, you know, old Gootecks is, you know, kind of slow, you know, not one of these, fighting game prodigies like everybody else on the internet. So I got to do things, you know, the hard way. And so then, with this, in this table, oh yeah, and this one I don't know, I should just delete that. There's nothing in here. But in this table, this was sort of more about, I guess, a couple of the different situations. So this one is, I could have probably laid this out a little bit better because it's kind of unclear. This standing medium kick, crouching heavy. This is the, you know, the target combo. You know, you would be able to get this from a couple of these different frame traps here. Like, for example, this one and well, you could put it in here too. I just didn't. But I was watching, I was watching an Ibuki tutorial video that Infiltration had made a while back, like a long time ago. And from watching it, you know, I sort of wrote down a couple of things, of which, you know, he spent some time talking about this target combo into the command dash reset. And so what I did after this was look at the frame advantage number or bar or whatever in training mode, and then was able to look and see how much frame advantage I really had. And then based on that number, was able to sort of work backwards from there. And I'm pretty sure that's what these numbers are, because because basically after you do this target combo, if you do medium command dash, you end up being +6, because maybe you're +26 and then the command dash costs you 20 frames, leaving 6 frames left over, so that you were +6. And so then, I went back to the frame data and then looked at what it would mean to be +6. So again, you would just go back here. So if you were +6, then that would mean that anything, let's say, that had between 6 to 10 frames startup would put you at a really good frame advantage, meaning that they would be forced to eat the mix up when they landed from that reset. So there were a couple options like Rida, because this was basically, it would eat a throw. It would beat buttons for the most part. The only tricky part, as I found, was that when you do this reset into the command dash, if you don't wait long enough, then she'll actually like turn the other way. So you have to essentially reverse the motion or do it slower or later if you don't want that to happen. And then, so we got medium command dash, we got heavy command jump. Actually, command jump. So, with this one, I think basically this one, you're just sort of, I don't think this one I ended up using that much, but I think the idea behind this one was that if you were to do the command jump and then immediately air kunai, then they're forced to block and you're still plus after that, meaning it would be your turn to attack again. This actually, this is not accurate. I should have removed this. And so the next section was EX kunai. Actually, yeah, let me just remove that right now. This next sequence was just EX, what you get after EX kunai. So I wish I had like a better way to like indent this or something to sort of indicate that this option, that these two, oh yeah, this is not a real thing either. That these two sort of follow this, this EX kunai sequence. So essentially you do the target combo, EX kunai, and then you can cancel that immediately into the command jump, or you could just dash forward and then Rida. But as I found out later, or I don't know, sometime after doing this, when we had a bunch of Ibuki experts in here, it was like Bafale and a few other people, and they had reminded me, or pointed out rather, that you're not supposed to do heavy Rida because it puts them too far away. You're supposed to do light Rida, because if you do that, then they're still in range after the knockdown, and you have enough time to dash forward and meaty them with, let's say, a standing medium kick. Oh, that's great. Glad to hear it. Iconoclast 11. Just doing our jobs. Yeah. And so then this is basically just somebody in the chat had pointed out that rather than going straight for the target combo, if you start with low jab, then you have enough time to confirm or to hit confirm or stop from going all the way to fierce, because you end up being like -5 or something. Very rare that you get punished, but obviously against like a really strong player, you would definitely get punished. And this one is just this is just like a target combo. So like, I don't really have like a whole lot of extensive notes for her. But probably maybe like the next thing I would probably do is put something, let's see, sequence. Yeah, here we go. We're just going to say that the sequence is V-trigger 2. So now maybe, now we have like a section for what to do with like V-trigger 2, which is like, crouching medium kick, V-trigger, and then assuming it hits, and standing medium kick, and then heavy DP, which is the Kazugiri, the uppercut, and then that hits in back, and so you basically dash forward, then back medium punch for the reset, then side switch, or don't. I'm sure there's all kinds of like way better options, but I don't know. I hadn't done all of the homework yet. What website is this? This is Airtable. Airtable used to be what I used for this type of thing. And then yesterday or the day before, over the weekend, I discovered Coda.io and Notion. And it basically allows a lot of the similar functionality as Airtable, which is primarily meant to be a database. But with Coda, you're basically creating docs that are, according to them, that you're basically creating docs that can be as powerful as apps. So I've been trying to like learn. Yeah, I've been trying to learn Coda because, you know, you can integrate external data sources such as Airtable or Google Sheets or, you know, like an RSS feed or any number of different apps. You can connect to it through, through the API integration with Zapier and a host of other services. If you're not familiar with Zapier, basically like Zapier, IFTTT, which is short for if this, then that, and Integromat are platforms that allow you to connect different web services with each other through the magic of APIs. If you're not familiar with APIs, it's basically like the language that different web services will use to talk to each other, which sounds intimidating if you don't have some sort of like technical or coding background, but trust me, it's not that hard. Yes. So 64 on Twitch says, so how did your Ibuki notes differ from your Rose notes? Good question. I don't think there were any Rose notes, to be quite honest. But back then, if there were Rose notes, they were probably in Evernote. And if you're not familiar with Evernote, it's what I used to use for note-taking stuff. Oh yeah. Oh, I got hell. I do have some. I do have like a lot of notes. Here's the thing, though. They're all spread out across all kinds of different notes within Evernote. Let me see if. Let me see what I have here. Okay, hold on. Just give me one moment here. I didn't anticipate having a bust out Evernote. Hold on one second. Let me see if this will actually let me pull in anything. Oh yeah, what site is this? It's Airtable. Which used to be the sort of all-around database slash, I don't know, project management tool. Used to be all of that. It used to be the king until Coda, Coda.io appeared. Although I don't know if I would appreciate Coda.io and this other one, Notion. They're basically like, what do they call them? Like module productivity, some shit like that. I don't know if I'd appreciate either of them had I not been basically working with Airtable and trying to learn as much as I can about Airtable over the past, really all year. Ah, man. Okay. This is part of why, this is part of why, I don't know. I just don't think Evernote is that good. Evernote feels very dated now. As you can see, it's trying to like sync the notes because I haven't opened it on this account. But I can tell you, what I can tell you is that the notes that I was taking before with Rose, because I have them on my, I have them on my phone here, so I can kind of tell you what's in here. Serious Rose training / strategy. So I got a warm up routine. I got a 0 bar hit confirm, a 1 bar hit confirm, a 1 bar punish, hit confirm combos, tick throw practice. Rose by the numbers, low short, close strong, +1, startup moves. Okay, so like, it was not that different. It just was not well organized, I guess. And also back then, I definitely did not have as strong of a grasp on, frame data and everything. But also in here, I mean, I got a lot of combos, man. Yeah. Got a lot of combos in there. Practical combos guide. Huh. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe I never published any of this stuff. God, the worst. Oh, okay. I have like character specific matchups like Rose versus Blanca, like Rose versus Cammy. See, like, so essentially like all of this stuff that's sort of in here that's like kind of spread across different notes within Evernote. Fuck all that. Like both with Airtable and with Coda, all this stuff can be in, essentially in one place. So I don't have to actually like type in to like Evernote, the Evernote search box. It just seems so antiquated. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's right. Asian Beefcake. Yeah, Evernote was cool back in 2011. Yeah, I mean, I was a big Evernote proponent, man. And I guess it does have some uses, but now it's probably time to cancel. But yeah, Airtable is dope. The learning curve is steep, but with most things that are, with most tools that are powerful, they come with a relatively steep learning curve. But now that I've had, some experience with Coda, I can see I'm still going to be using Airtable for like raw data, but for stuff where I'm trying to organize information, I probably am going to be leaning towards Coda or Notion. Google Docs, for me, it just doesn't, like, I'm not trying to write a blog post or like a book chapter, right? I'm trying to organize data in a way that's easy to access, easy to manipulate once it's in there. Here, let me show you guys. Let me pop up this this thing that I was working on earlier in Coda. It's not it's no I just started on it today, so it's not finished or anything. But basically the whole idea behind Coda is that you can create docs that are as good or better than apps. Okay. So I'm like, it made me think about, I'm always trying to like make useful stuff, both for myself and then for you guys, right? And a long time ago, when I was sort of like, kind of like on the tail end of Street Fighter 4, I was training a lot of people and had started to think about the potential of an app that would track your stats when you're playing. And back then, I mean, this was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I was using this app called Wufoo, which is used for collecting data from forums and then making little charts and stuff. 64 were your character matchup notes in Evernote, just a bunch of do this to punish X notes. It was that plus, like combos for different situations like 0, 1 bar, full super, stuff like that. I don't know. I don't do it the same way anymore. But anyways, like back then it was like, if you could at least make like a little match logger app, which at the time I was like using Wufoo. This was a long time ago. These tools that we have now, I don't think Airtable, Coda, or Notion even existed back then. So basically what you can do is add different pages to the side. I kind of like to have a to-do list, like a training mode to-do list, but it's sort of built around this match log section. So essentially, this is just like from earlier, right? So the way it works is you just click on add a match, and then you select your character. It'll automatically bring up the character's image, and then you put the opponent's character, like, okay, let's just say Balrog. But I didn't add in all of the images yet. And then let's just say, oh, okay, well, what was the result? Oh, okay, like, we won. And then, you have a little place in there for notes, like, didn't know how to punish, like, XYZ, whatever. And so then that adds it here, right? And so then it color codes the wins and losses, and it timestamps it. And once that's in there, you can create these other views. Like, for example, here in the dashboard, this is basically just a view of this is just a view of the breakdown between wins and losses, right? So you can see at a glance, like, okay. So this could either be you could set this up so that this was only showing, let's say, today's matches or this week's matches. Like, for example, let's say date is like yesterday. Oh, well, there's nothing in there from yesterday, so it's going to show nothing. Or let's say, last 7 days, right? So this will show today, of course. And if we had more of the match history, then this would show the different data. So you could say, like, okay, well, what was like my date? What's today's win rate, right? Versus what's like the average win rate from the past week or the past month. And I'm pretty sure after some more messing around with it, then it could be broken down by character. And so that's sort of what this chart shows, which is basically just the characters that you fought against in the log. Like I said, I just started making this thing today. So I'm hoping that over time it'll become more useful. But then there's also the calendar view, right? So you could see, over time, oh, okay, like what days were you playing? And like, how did each of those days go with the particular characters? And then the YouTube videos section, I mean, this is, so this just basically pulls in some like pre-specified URLs, but I know there's a way to automate it, or at the very, like, even if you had to do it manually, then you would basically just copy and paste the link into this column, and then it would update here. So like, for example, you could pop in your, some relevant Ibuki tutorials or whatever character you happen to be working on. 64 says, do you know if other tournament players are as elaborate with their viewing or logging their performances? I highly doubt it. I mean, on one hand, it's like, well, if I spent less time doing shit like this, maybe I would be stronger. But I feel like the more data that you can have about yourself or your opponent, you know, I don't know, having that hard data to me, it helps, because if you're doing things like tracking your win rate, or at least tracking how much your, like, let's say, how many matches are you playing per day, you know, you can sort of keep your, I feel like it's much easier to keep yourself honest, because the data doesn't lie, right? If you've been slacking and, you know, you didn't play for a week, and then, you know, you're like, whoa, like, you know, why am I not playing very well? It's like, oh, okay, well, like, you know, the numbers show that you've been slacking. And it is true that a lot of this data already is on CFN. However, there's no way to access it outside of the game. And you have to go. It's just such a mission sometimes to navigate to where all of that data is within the game. So it's really not that hard to just like log the matches as you do them. So you know, in a perfect world on a long enough timeline, this stuff we should be able to automate this stuff eventually. You know, through the use of, I don't know, scripting and AI or something, or computer vision, you know, to be like, oh, okay, well, when you see this screen, then press this button, okay? Yeah, so there is a CFN website. Yeah, yes, there is. And you can't really get very much useful data on yourself when it comes to like the win-loss records. Hold on, let me bust it open and I'll show you. CFN. Oh, God damn it. It's going to make me fucking... Sign in with Steam and then give us the code to make sure you're you. You're you. Are you? Am I? Is it me? Am I me? Here we go. It's gonna be here somewhere. No. Maybe not. Oh, God damn it. Oh, where was it? Oh, okay. Oops. Here we go. Okay. Got my Steam code. Okay. All right, we're logging into CFN. I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like. I don't know. I don't really think they built Street Fighter V and CFN. They didn't build it. It's not built to scale, like, at all. Because I'm pretty sure when the game launched and like none of this shit would load, I don't know, they didn't have enough. They didn't have the resources allocated to it, or they didn't have enough processing power. I don't know, or it was just built really, really inefficiently. Because when you're here, and you're logged in, I mean, first off, like, you know, the stuff is, you know, the site is not updated all that often, right? And the type of stuff that you can actually, the type of data you can actually get leaves a lot to be desired, in my opinion, to say the least. I guess what is interesting right here, you know, combat stats and character usage. So it'll show you the overall, I guess, like win-loss records, kind of. So like Urian versus Fong, you know, you can basically sort of see how the character does in this particular matchup. You know, basically this is like out of 10, I guess, even though it kind of doesn't make any sense, right? Because how can it be like, if we're looking at Birdie and Balrog, how can it be like 5.3? Oh, okay. That's what it is. Okay. So the average means like, oh, this character wins 5.335 matches out of 10 on average against the entire cast. But against, let's say, Abigail, oh, well, Birdie only gets 4.943 wins out of 10. I don't really think that that's terribly useful. But I guess it's nice to have. This, oh man, where is it? Oh, here we go. This one is a little bit more interesting, maybe. Sort of like the overall character usage stats. So, you know, you can see, oh, big surprise. Ryu, Akuma, and Ken making up, what is this? Like almost nearly 25% of the overall matches in ranked, casual, and battle lounge in September. I guess it was kind of a surprise to see Lucia there. Probably, you know, because, you know, she was fresh at that point. So that's interesting. I mean, and then, you know, you scroll all the way to the bottom, like, wow, Fang and Falk. Oof. Oh man, rough. It's rough out here. But yeah, so, you know, when you go to your profile settings, then you go to the profile screen and then it fucking takes forever to load. And so it's got like, you know, it's got your points or your rank or whatever, but who gives a shit? This is not useful data. Especially because what ends up happening when you click on one of the recent matches is it just takes you to their profile, right? Like, I don't want to, I mean, I don't want to go to their profile because I don't want to just go to their profile. There's nothing here anyways, right? Like, what can I do? Follow? Okay, great. Respect. All right, great. We're following now. Awesome. But like, who cares? Because we don't get to see anything useful. Like, you can't even get the replay ID from here. Oh yeah, Mags and Y, good looking out. Thanks for sticking around. So, you know, yeah, sure. Like, you can get, you know, your most recent numbers, but like, you know what, like, I gotta log in through Steam and then I gotta do the, you know, 2-factor authentication, and then, you know, you get the battle reports for the past like 20 matches, like you know, you can't even see the replay ID. So to me, it's just kind of, you know, it's just kind of a waste. But what it does, I guess maybe what it has that's kind of interesting. Where was it? Rankings, casual. No. Oh, here we go. Click here for data from previous version. See, like, and this section is where it gets really weird because I'm like, is this from like season 3? So all of this data is the stuff that you can see when you look at your in-game profile. It's just spread out over like a bunch of different screens. The other thing is like, is this really useful data? Maybe. I don't know. All I know is it's, I don't mind logging the stuff myself. Because if you have a match and you can put one thing in there that you could do better, or you need to figure out, or you messed up and you need to work on, it's, you could do a lot worse, because then this can be linked to the, this could be linked to your, like your training mode to-do list. And, you can have one of these for each character, see, like with the frame data, right? Like I just pulled this in from fullmeter.com. I just copied and pasted it, So there's a lot of stuff, I guess, that still needs a lot of stuff that can be added. But what I'm hoping is that if I can just continue to build on this and build on it and be able to pull in data and, generate, tables and stuff, it should be, it should be enough to like keep you motivated, because as long as you can see that incremental progress, usually that's enough to just carry you forward. Oh, all right. I'm gonna take a little break. Yeah, gonna take a little break and then come back and maybe there's more questions to be answered. Thank you, Silver. Thank you, Asian Beefcake. I appreciate you guys. All right. BRB, sit tight. Oh my God. All right. Well, Wait, too low? What do you mean? What do you mean it's too low? Is that better? Ah, fuck me, man.
Fighters ready. Engage.
Oh, oh. Oh my god, it's so good to be a small, tiny, little Japanese ninja girl instead of a big body buff. What even? I don't even know where Urian's from. Anyways, it's a lot easier to get out of stuff with her. Oh!
With some of these newer developers to create badass fighting games, Gootecks has the knowledge. Thank you. Hey, people know where to find me, man. It's just I don't spend a lot of time like going around telling people like, hey, like you should hire me to do this or that or whatever. The other thing is I don't know shit about development. All I know is what makes something good or what makes something work. But I don't have like a technical development background or anything like that. That shit. And that's why I prefer to work for the people. Because then everything, you know, then like we're in control, right? Like, oh, you don't like this? Oh, whatever. Fucking don't pay for it. Don't buy it. Turn it off. Don't click. Unfollow, mute, and block. That's fine. There's still, you know, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of other people out there that we can reach instead. You know, because it's just easier to sell. I mean, it's just easier to do things that way. I don't know. It works better for me. Yeah.
Final round. Go.
This motherfucker jumped over and supered. Get... Sure, okay. Okay, alright, okay. Okay.
Oh no! Oh.
There's the SPD. He's going to dash up.
Oh, no jump back. He has been so patient on defense. It's actually banking on it.
Ah, yeah, so, alright, stand medium punch +2. And... Let's see, what did he go into?
Buffer into the crowd.
Early.
Totally don't mind just stealing all of Xian's shit.
Efficiently, in the neutral, but that time the jump in was telegraphed. Look for the frame.
Oh, I went for the crush counter right there. All right. Whoops. Oops. 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 All right, there we go. All right. We're back. There was a lot of show and tell. A lot of talking about training. And if you're just joining us, it's freaking cold over here, man. So, oh, let's see. Hold on 1 second. I look cozy. But I could be cozier. No joke. So yeah, I mean, yeah, thanks 64 for the question. Maybe that will, I don't know. I don't know if I explained all that stuff very well. I don't know if I could make a whole video out of that. But we got more. Riot fighting game, best and worst FGC moments, Tekken 7, frame data, and Third Strike. Good. You cannot underestimate the importance of frame data in 2019 and beyond. Maybe it wasn't always this way. Maybe it wasn't always this way, but it is now. Hold on. I think I gotta stand up. It's like it's easier to talk standing up sometimes. Nope. What? Uh-oh. 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 Ah, shit. Totally kind of fucked that up. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Is that too much? Oh no. What the hell? We lost it, guys. What happened? Oh, there it is. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Don't touch a thing. I don't even know which way my hair goes anymore, you guys. Oh wait, hold on. We're gonna I gotta adjust this. Uh-oh, you guys are seeing behind the curtain. Oh no. Okay, I think that's okay. Am I tired? Yes. But whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's see. Cout Trigger wants to know, did you pay attention to Third Strike in... Sorry. One more time. Let me hit the marker. All right, what's up, guys? We got an interesting question. Cow Trigger wants to know, did you pay attention to frame data in your Third Strike days? Absolutely not. Back in the dark ages. All right, yeah. Welcome aboard. Back in the dark ages. I guess it wasn't really the dark ages, but it kind of was the dark ages. There was nothing going on in fighting games. You know, after Marvel 2 came out, nothing for 8 years until Street Fighter 4, right? So back in the mid 2000s, right? Like circa 2003 to 2008, Third Strike was alive and kicking. Now, did frame data exist? Yes. Did good old Gootecks know what to do with that? Absolutely not. But I was not in the minority because most people didn't. There were a few guys that did know, right? Like Arlieth, Kenai, I'm sure Pyro Lee. These guys, they knew the importance of frame data at a time where the rest of us were essentially like the monkeys in 2001 Space Odyssey, just out there like, just like out there, just beating each other with bones with no regard for science, just straight savagery. Like, oh, like this seems like it beats this, or it seems like I can like parry low right here, without any fucking idea what the real, what the truth was. Because frame data essentially allows you to determine what is real and what is not. It's like frame data is like the lie detector of fighting games, because when you know it, you can tell whether the person that you're playing knows what the fuck they're talking about or not. Because when you understand how being plus on block or being minus on block or being even on block affects the next situation or the next turn, then you can start to really understand the mind of the opponent. And also, it just saves you a lot of trial and error. So, essentially for me, in the Third Strike era, Like I knew frame data existed, but I didn't know how to read it. Oftentimes it would be in Japanese. If only I could go back in time 10 years, learn Japanese, and then be like the, Ryan Hart, Ryan Harvey, Fubar Duck, Kenai, Arlieth, all these guys, they all were fluent enough in Japanese to be able to read frame data and understand it. And, you know, all of those guys are, you know, bona fide great players. So I wish I'd been smarter. Yeah. Yeah, presumably though you were very aware of what was safe and unsafe. Kind of, not really. Like, yeah, for the most part you would, you know, but for the most part, yeah, but the thing is, in Third Strike specifically, so there's no counter hits, right? The counter hits in Third Strike are the extra frame advantage that you get, extra frame advantage and damage that you get if you hit them while they're crouching. But the thing is, the extra frame advantage that you get is not consistent amongst every move. Like in Street Fighter V, if you score a counter hit, and let's say without a counter hit, you're +3, but with the counter hit, you're +5 every single time. But in Third Strike, the numbers, it's not always like, oh, well, this move is like, gives you two extra frames. It's not like that. And it was only like last year when they put out 30th anniversary, and then there was, all of the, Capcom was putting money in the premiere events for Third Strike. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, let me like try to relearn Third Strike from the ground up using the frame data. And it was a really eye-opening and humbling experience to look at a game that I'd played for so long and really like knew so little about. It sucks. It sucks because I didn't understand the importance. There was there weren't good references. I don't even know if one of these guys even tried to explain it to me. But if they did, it didn't stick. And then even when Street Fighter 4 came out, understanding the frame data and reading it and whatever was a lot more common, but still, unfortunately, I just was not, I didn't get it. It just didn't click. And then when Street Fighter V was being beta tested in 2015, I think it was, and they put out the beta, and then there was, I think it was Gilly, might have been a few other people that put together the frame data for the beta versions of Street Fighter V. And I don't know, I just finally something clicked somewhere and I was able to understand exactly how and why it worked. And I think actually a lot of it had to do with the fact that Street Fighter V's training mode is so much more developed or fully featured than Street Fighter 4 and certainly Third Strike. Because the biggest difference in training mode between 4 and 5 is that in 5, you can have the dummy press a button after it blocks an attack. And you can also have the dummy hit a button as it gets up. And that makes all the difference because if you're looking at the frame data, and you see that something is like +2 on block, and then you have the dummy, you record a guard recovery action with the dummy to hit the 3-frame normal after it blocks. And then, you follow it up with your 5-frame medium attack, and you get that counter hit, and then it works every single time, and you're like, oh shit. It's like that scene. You guys are too young to remember, probably. It's like that scene in The Matrix where Neo downloads all of this stuff to his brain. He's like, whoa, I know Kung Fu. It's like that. So yeah, like it makes, and understanding how the frame data works doesn't just apply to Street Fighter V. Like, yeah, sure, the numbers are, unique to Street Fighter V, but you can take that same mentality or skill set and apply it to any other fighting game. So you can go back in time like I did with Third Strike and be like, oh shit, look at all this stuff I didn't know. That's right, Crunchy93. No joke. I had a conversation with somebody close to me, and I was like, I made a reference to the Matrix, and I just got like sort of like a blank stare, and I'm like, wait, are you too young to remember? Did you never see the Matrix? Oh God. So anyways, definitely, I mean, whatever. Obviously, or not obviously, but, one school of thought is that execution is the most important skill to develop in fighting games. So once you have that down, probably the second most important skill is to understand the frame data and what it means to be plus, what it means to be minus, what it means to be even on block or hit or counter hit or whatever. Because understanding when it is your turn and when it's totally not your turn, that is what helps to demystify a lot of what's going on in the game. Because when people, it just seems like when people first start playing fighting games, obviously they're just mashing, right? They're just like, oh God, I'm in the virtual fight of my life, and I just need to hit all the buttons as fast as humanly possible. Having no concept for when is the right and the wrong time to hit a button, because they don't actually know, they don't understand, like, oh, like when I'm blocking, I can't actually do anything, or, if I throw out this move, I'm basically safe, but if I try to attack again and they hit a button at the same time, now I'm getting hit. Well, why is that, So taking the time to learn the basics of understanding the frame data goes so far. And that's not to say that you always need to just like play by the numbers, because you don't. In fact, most would argue that strictly playing by the numbers makes you too predictable. So really the truth is somewhere in the middle. You gotta play with your head and you gotta play with your heart. And that's the challenge that most people run into, because the people who are best at playing with the heart generally are the ones that don't give a shit. Oh, this is -2 on block. I don't give a shit. I'm just gonna do this fucking psychic DP anyways. Whatever. Who cares? Fuck you. And then on the flip side, the other type of player is like, oh well, I'm -2 on block, so I'm gonna throw this out there, and then I'm just not gonna try to attack again ever. But the thing is, if you can understand, you can only start to really break the rules once you understand them. So to me, the truth is somewhere in the middle. That's right, tiny angry crab. Frame data doesn't tell you how to play, but it tells you the rules of the actual game. That's right. And yeah, exactly. If you play somebody who knows frame data and you don't, you're not playing the same game. Totally. Let's see. Triptych DP. Gutex, I'm not trying to be a smartass because I'm all about Third Strike 2. But why didn't you get into Marvel 2? I don't know. You know, I played Marvel 1. I played Marvel Superheroes. I played Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter. I played X-Men versus Street Fighter. I even played X-Men Children of the Atom. But I never really played Marvel 2, I think because at the time I was playing Third Strike. The Marvel cab at one of the places I used to play was like right next to the Third Strike cab. But I just, I just let it go. I just was like, well, I'm not where I want to be with Third Strike, so I should just focus on this game. Because I think if I had been playing Third Strike in 1999 and then Marvel 2 had come out in 2001, I'm pretty sure I would have played it, right? Because when the game is brand new, that's when it's easiest to like be good or make an impact. But, you know, when I was really... when I was, let's say, like at my strongest and hungriest in Third Strike, like let's say 2007 to 2008, like what was I going to do? Like try to get into Marvel then? No. I mean, it's like I was struggling enough with like trying to not suck in Third Strike. Plus, I mean, it just always, yeah, I don't know. Third Strike was like, by comparison, Third Strike was a gentleman's game. Yeah. It definitely came back to haunt me, though, for sure, because when Marvel 3 came out, I didn't understand anything about team composition and like, oh, this is your battery and this is, your point character is your battery, and then your anchor is going to use all of your meter at the end. Like, I didn't understand any of that. And it was just always so soul crushing to play Marvel, because it's like, if you didn't play Marvel 2, how could you ever think the same? It's like you didn't even know what you didn't know about Marvel 3 if you didn't play Marvel 2. So bad. It's really, I mean, it's a shame too, because like, you know, I don't really know if Marvel 2, when it was being developed, I don't know if they knew that it was going to turn out the way that it did, with there sort of only being, I don't know, like a handful of viable characters and teams and stuff. I don't think that they designed it that way on purpose. I don't think a lot of the stuff that ends, you know, like the way that Marvel's played now, like I don't think that they really thought about it all when they were developing it. But certainly by the time Marvel 3 came out, and certainly Ultimate and Marvel and Infinite, you know, they were well aware of what they were doing in terms of like how chaotic and the freedom that you have in those games. But for just, you know, regular old Joe Schmo Third Strike players like myself, I don't know, the hill was too steep. Nito Dude says, so I've been a Melee player for a long time. However, due to some problems, I have to drop the game for a bit to rest up. Huh. Yeah. Sure. Okay. And thought, hey, this is a good time to try and look into a 2D fighter, but so far nothing is particularly jumping out at me. Does anyone have any suggestions for what to try and sink at least 30 to 40 hours into to dip my toes? God, where do you even start with that, man? Well, you know, if you play Melee to any sort of degree of competency, you probably are no stranger to a high barrier of execution, maybe. Hand problems, namely some thumb stuff. Yeah, I think AMG Zant has got it. You can start with Samurai Showdown, yeah? Here's the thing though, I don't know, if you play Melee, that tells me that you must be between the ages of like 21, like 22 to 30. Maybe like 31. There's no way that there's no way that you're not in that age range. Meaning you probably are too young to appreciate Samurai Showdown. I don't know if I would say that Samurai Showdown is great for fighting game beginners. The only fighting game that I would say is actually suitable for beginners would be Fantasy Strike and Dive Kick. I feel like Fantasy Strike, you know, removes a lot of the complexity, such as, you know, just a lot of the, you know, the complicated motions and systems and whatnot. Dive Kick just removes everything except for dive kicks. So, yeah. 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 You are indeed on the younger end of the scale. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How do I feel about Grand Blue Fantasy? That actually also seems to be, it seems like that could also be a good game for beginners because of the low execution barrier. I would say probably the game that requires the the fighting game that requires the most execution. You know, I mean, let's say aside from Melee, because I'm pretty sure Melee has the highest like execution barrier. But in terms of like the regular 2D traditional, 2D or 3D fighters, pretty sure it's Guilty Gear as the hardest. And then, sorry, I don't know if, no, I think Guilty Gear is hardest, and then probably Marvel Infinite, maybe. And then when you step backwards, maybe you got the other anime games, Street Fighter. And then on the, sort of like the easier end of the execution spectrum, I would say, yeah, like the 3D games. Oh yeah, actually, sorry, yeah. KOF could easily be the hardest in terms of the execution required because the motions are so weird. But yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, if you don't think any of the games are interesting, then I don't know. I feel like either you haven't looked at all the games, or you're only looking at new games, or you haven't looked at like, I don't know, the retro games on Fightcade. I mean, even on Steam right now, like KOF 97 and 98 are like $5 each or something. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, doing the motions and the combos and training mode on like a non-moving target, of course, is going to be easier. But that doesn't actually translate to being able to pull any of that off in a real match. And the other issue with playing the older games, the retro games, is probably the same thing that anybody trying to play Melee, trying to get into Melee in 2019 experiences, which is just like, oh well, the only people still playing this game are the people who have been playing the entire time, meaning that it's going to be especially soul crushing, more soul crushing than it normally would be. Simply because there are fewer inexperienced players. But every time a new game comes out, that's the best, it's the easiest time to try to learn and get good and whatnot. Oh, Nito, dude. I'll be honest. I've not done tons and tons of research yet. Been looking at what is popular currently. Haven't looked into anything retro, honestly. What I will say though is ideally I'd play something that has a decent online player base. I think MK, Killer Instinct, MK and Killer Instinct probably have, and probably Fantasy Strike maybe, probably have the best netcode. Street Fighter's netcode is okay. I mean, there's certainly a lot of people playing it. Yeah. But MK's netcode is really good. Yeah, Skullgirls' netcode is really good. Yeah, right. Yes, Time Link. Yeah, I don't actually know about the Skullgirls player base. However, the training mode with Skullgirls is supposed to be really, really, really good. Quite extensive compared to most other games' training mode. Or sorry, the tutorial mode. I mean, you think about it, right? Like Tekken 7 is the most popular fighting game right now, and up until what, like yesterday or the day before, there was no tutorial mode. There, you know, now there's debate. What are they doing? They're charging for the frame data after they said they would never ever ever release the frame, like they would never ever release the frame data. Like what the fuck? Like I can't even I don't know, man. Yeah. It's a struggle, man. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to get, I don't know how I don't know that I could say, oh yeah, like just play Street Fighter 5. Like, I can't really like, I can show somebody how to, I can show somebody how to learn how to play Street Fighter 5, but I don't know that I would say, you know, if you were trying to get into fighting games, if like that's where you would start. I don't know. It's really hard. Yeah, I don't know. You just gotta try a bunch of different games, I guess. Or, you know, you're young kid, right? You like anime, don't you? Go play that Dragon Ball Fighters, eh? Yeah, I don't fucking know. Horror movies? Fuck out of here, dude. Fuck that. You think Gutex watches scary movies? Hell no. No. Mm-mm. No. I don't watch scary movies. I don't watch creepy movies. Fuck that. Mm-mm. I mean, I don't even watch movies, but if I were to watch, it's just too much. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Nah. Real life is scary enough. I don't need none of that. Yeah. Come on, Nido dude. You must have friends that'll just let you borrow their Steam accounts or whatever and just, I don't know, try out the different games. Honestly, dude, like you should just play whatever you think looks the coolest. Like that's it. Exactly. Too spooky for me. Yeah. I mean, Samurai Showdown's not a bad choice either. And it feels like they're still working on it. So in the limited amount of time that I played, like there was like an update that like kind of fixed matchmaking a little bit, but the reality is that for the most part, no game has it all, or no game has it figured out, because, you know, despite the fact that Tekken is like the most popular, you know, whatever, like up until recently, tutorial mode like wasn't there. I don't know, I've heard, my understanding is that like the netcode sucks on PS4, right? And like with Street Fighter, right? Street Fighter's got all the money and all the sponsors, but like the online, you know, generally the online experience is hit or miss at best, right? And then, you know, maybe you have the other games, like maybe you're a big Skullgirls fan, right? Like, oh, Skullgirls got a great tutorial mode and training mode, and like the community is super passionate, right? But there's not that many of them, you know? And like, you know, each of the games, oh, like Mortal Kombat, like, oh, it's got like a ton of money, and like, oh, the netcode's good, but like, not as many people play it. Or, you know, all of the, you know, like international players don't play it because that's, I don't know, more like Mortal Kombat levels of like cartoon violence doesn't fly outside of America. Triptych DP. Remember, Gutex, you remember that ad you did where you were supposed to be catatonic in a nursing home and Mike came to visit you? What movie was that for? Wasn't it Dumb and Dumber? Yeah, it was Dumb and Dumber 2. It was like the DVD Blu-ray release of Dumb and Dumber 2. And we just shot this this promo. Yeah, it was dope. Those are the days. You could make a really handsome sum of money based on your views. Does Street Fighter 4 have a big player base? Is it worth playing over 5? Great question. I should be asking you guys that. I don't know. Somebody told me that people still play Street Fighter 4 on PC or on Xbox or something. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we got to find out, huh? Swarmadata says, I still play it on Steam. Oh, do you now, bro? Are there a lot of people that play? Oh my gosh. 3 to 4 times a week you play Street Fighter 4? Here and there. Oh, I play it here and there. Like more than every other day. Essentially every other day. Like Sunday, play. Monday off. Tuesday on. Wednesday off. Thursday on. Like, wow. Almost dead? What do you mean it's almost dead? It's been dead. Did our best to kill it. What do you do about the roadblocks as a fighting game player? I've reached gold in Street Fighter V, but can't seem to do anything to keep climbing. Any tips? Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because gold is kind of an interesting place to get stuck. Because most people get stuck way sooner and give up. And I think the majority of the rest of the people, you know, it just sort of starts to click. But I would say that if you're stuck in gold, you got some sort of you have some sort of glaring deficiency in your game that yeah, you got a real glaring deficiency. Because once you make it to gold, it's basically just like, it's like, kind of like nothing but time until you like make it to platinum. But if you're stuck in gold, I would say that you... Usually the biggest thing that separates gold from platinum players is probably either optimization of, you know, making sure that they're getting the most amount of damage in their combos, or, you know, they have subpar execution under pressure. They might also be super they might be like really unbalanced in the sense of not having a lot of character experience of experience with characters aside from their main. They might usually it's something like that, where they've sort of pigeonholed themselves into only playing one character or one style, and probably not making it a habit to learn new stuff and new characters as they come out. But yeah, typically, yeah, gold is, that is not where you want to get stuck. But, you know, this is where looking at the numbers and the data, I think, is actually quite beneficial. Because if you are stuck in gold, you should be able to go to your CFN profile and then look at your, you know, the percentage win, your win rate against the different characters. And I'm certain that the characters that have the fine balance between characters that you fight regularly enough, but have like a really low win rate against, you haven't taken the time to learn the basics of that character. You haven't taken the time to reach competency in the characters that you struggle fighting against. And if you hadn't been making it a habit of learning each character as they are released, now you got a lot of catching up to do. Yeah, I've been stuck there a while, and I can say I don't know every matchup because I do lose to the oddball characters no one plays. Yeah, yes, but I feel like there's still some characters that aren't quite obscure that you fight somewhat regularly that you don't know much about. Like, remember, if you, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I brought up the web portal of CFN, and if you log in, it'll show you the character usage stats overall across ranked, casual, and battle lounge. And Ryu, Akuma, Ken, and Guile, I think was the fourth, maybe there was, and Lucia, I think, made up a solid 25% of all of the matches. So I would look at that list and then compare. I would look at the characters that are most popular, and then I would look at my win rate against those characters. And I'm pretty positive you're going to find a disparity. And that's a great place to start, because you don't need to be an expert in the character in order to learn how to fight them, because a little bit goes such a long way when it comes to broadening your horizons and trying to cover the holes in your game. Yeah, I mean, the numbers don't lie. It'll tell you how many, how many games you had against each character. And, when we looked at the character usage chart, the bottom two were like Fang and Falk. And it's like, okay, they were played, it was like, Fang was played like 0.76%. Versus Ryu was like 10 or 11%, right? So, obviously you could just start at the bottom and work your way up. But in my opinion, that's not as effective because of the infrequency at which you would actually fight a Fang player, right? So I'd be looking at, the top 10 characters in terms of the most common, and then would look at my win rate that was the lowest. So find the character find the character in the top 10 most used list that you have the lowest win percentage against. And you need to learn you need to gain competency in that character. Oh, Johnny Nitro 1 2 3 4. Hold on. I gotta write that one down. Hold on. That's a good one. Hold on. I'm gonna press the marker button and everything. Okay, hold on. Johnny Nitro 1 2 3 4. Do you think one could play competitively and have a chance of winning tournaments if you played around 1 hour a day, or is that too little? Oh man, that is a good one. Okay, let's think. Let's think for a second. What if I hit the marker button right there? All right. Okay. Let's just pretend like this is the beginning of the video, right? What's up, guys? It's Gootecks. You guys got questions. I got answers. Johnny Nitro 1 2 3 4 had a very interesting question. He says, do you think one could play competitively and have a chance of winning tournaments if you only play around 1 hour a day, or is that too little? It's a very interesting question because it assumes that you need to, well, number one, that playing a lot gets you better. And it also assumes that you need to play a lot in order to be, to win and to be effective. I would look at it, the way I look at it is different. If you have 1 hour a day to dedicate to fighting games, generally I would say for most people, most people are not in the, despite the way that everybody talks on the internet, most people are not in, the 99th percentile of fighting game players. They're not even in the 90th percentile. Most people are pretty far down there with most other people. My position is that my position is that generally playing the game is the least effective way to get better. If you don't have like a training partner that will be patient with you and point out what you're doing wrong and like stop and go into training mode and then, run some drills. If you don't have somebody like that and you're just playing game after game, especially a game with tremendously long loading times like Street Fighter V, you're just simply not going to get enough raw play time with the game in order for that 1 hour to really do you any good. I would say it's way more effective if you had an hour, I would spend most of the time doing a combination of watching my replays, writing down what went wrong, what can be improved, and working on those things specifically in training mode. And then at the end, play 1 2 out of 3 set online so that the next day when your, hour refills, you have a couple of matches to watch and then spend the rest of the time, taking notes and problem solving, not actually trying to grind matches online. That I don't think that that's very effective in this day and age. You just, especially when you compare it, I've been playing, as I've been playing Third Strike on Fightcade, and, it's just so fast, boom, game after game after game, because they built it to just suck in as many quarters as possible. But with Street Fighter V, it's okay, well, all right, the match is over. All right, now we're going to do this big old animation thing, and then we're going to tally up the points. And then you're going to hit rematch. And then it's going to reload. And then, and then you're playing again. It's so much slower to grind. And if your time is limited, then you have to be more mindful with the way that you spend it. And watching your replays, writing down what can be improved, and then deliberately practicing those things, making a list, and just treat it like a freaking project. And you just go line by line. Oh, I got to do this. Here are my tasks in training mode that I have assembled through watching the 2 or 3 games from yesterday. That should be enough to keep you busy for the hour, right? Because you got to watch the replays, you got to write down what happened, then you got to figure it out. You got to figure it out, and you got to figure the math out through through the frame data, and then you gotta practice the situation in training mode against a dummy that is, you know, either it's moving or maybe it's set to random block, or maybe it's set to random counter hit, or, you know, you're recording like a handful of recording actions so that you can play back and just not have the dummy throw the same option at you over and over. That to me is the type of deliberate practice that will get you a little bit better every single time. So is it enough to win tournaments? I would say that eventually it will be enough to win tournaments. It's because there's certainly a lot of players out there who don't even practice 1 hour a day and they still win tournaments. But does that mean that you could do the same? If you're not already doing it, then no. You need to get to that level first in order to, you know, maintain that type of, Alexa, stop. Yeah, you gotta get to that level first, and then you can sort of maintain that dominance. But so I know what you're saying. Well, how do I even get there in the first place if I can only practice an hour a day? But that's the thing. If you're getting a little bit better and a little bit better every single day because you've been putting in this focused, deliberate practice that most players, I promise you, the vast majority of players are not doing it that way. But if you just focus on that tiny little incremental improvement day after day, week after week, you will definitely see progress month to month, year to year. And that's because that's the part that most people who haven't competed on that level, they don't understand. People think, oh, okay, well, I can just, you know, if I just like play 8 hours, like, oh, these guys are just winning because they're playing 8 hours a day. Newsflash, fighting game players are fucking lazy. Almost nobody, there's very few people that are at the top where I'm like, where I know their work ethic is super strong. It's just not the case. So if you're able to have that real work ethic, even if it's only 1 hour a day, but if you are consistent and can continue at that pace for months and then years, I promise you, you will eventually get it to the point where, or not eventually, but you're going to get a little bit better and a little bit better. So, you know, first you're going 0-2, then you're going 1-2. No shit. Oh my God. It fucking took like 6 months, but now I'm going 2-2, you know? Fast forward a couple years later, now you're making it out of pools. All right. So now you're in top 64, right? Maybe it took like 2, 3 years, 4 years. Now you're in top 8. You don't just go magically. You don't just, like, nobody is playing 10 hours a day for a month and then winning tournaments. It just doesn't work that way. You need to take that time, condense it. You need to take that time and make sure that that effort is sustainable over the long period of time, because that's what it's going to take. because there are no quantum leaps. You don't just, it's not like last week, you went, last week you went 2-2. This week you win the whole thing. It just, it doesn't work that way. Like, you have to go step by step. And if you're committed to the process, then you won't get discouraged, because you'll always be improving, even if it's a little bit at a time. But you can tell, you can feel it when it starts to click. And then you make a little progress, a little bit more progress, and then you plateau. But do you stop? No. You're just like, whatever. I'm just going to continue to go at this sustainable rate that I'm going. And eventually, you will outlast. Worst case scenario, you just outlast everybody because you just didn't give up. Other people, they graduated from school, or they went and got a job, or now they got a girlfriend or something. You reach a certain, trust me, you reach a certain age in fighting games, you will see everybody that you played with, everybody you came up with, you'll see them go away. The vast majority, 90%, right? Oliver Red says, here's the real question though. Can you get to a competitive level if there's no local scene whatsoever? This is just a theory. I haven't done it myself. But I think if you surveyed all of, the top 1%, maybe even 2%, survey the top 1-2% of players on CFN, I think the majority of them are online warriors that don't play offline. Now, how is it possible? How is it possible that these guys can be so strong? They could be like number 1 online warrior, never play offline. How is that even possible? Well, they just have done the work to understand the game well enough to just continue to climb and climb and climb and climb. I would even argue that it could even, given the proper direction and resources, it could actually be easier to get good by only playing online if you had enough setups, enough monitors, if you knew how to properly train in training mode, if you had the resources to watch all of your replays quickly and easily. I think there's a case to be made that if you had, enough time and were committed to focused, deliberate practice and improvement, you too could get, to the top. And there's only going to be more and more opportunities for online players to shine, right? Like when you look at CPT, right? They have the online regional qualifiers or the online, I don't know, there's some sort of CPT online component. And people can cry all they want, oh, the fucking netcode, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that the players that are at the top of the leaderboards that are just playing online, the netcode is the same for them as it is for you. Yeah. Leafer TV says Punk was an online warrior. Yeah. Yes. Punk was playing Street Fighter 4 online as a young punk. And, you know, sure. I mean, I don't know. He was like 12 or 13 or something like that when he started. And he was just, when you're 12 or 13, you got a lot of fucking time, right? He did it. I don't know when I'm not quite sure when he started to like leave the house and start, going out to, offline tournaments. But there's a lot of guys. I mean, maybe not a lot, but you wouldn't be the first if you did that too. Definitely stranger things have happened in this world. Oh shit. Hello?
Ryan.
Oh my God. All right. Well, wait, too low? What do you mean? What do you mean it's too low? Is that better? Ah, fuck me, man.
Fighters ready. Engage.
Oh. Oh my God, it's so good to be a small, tiny, little Japanese ninja girl instead of a big body buff. I don't even know where Urian's from. Anyways, it's a lot easier to get out of stuff with her. Oh!
With some of these newer developers to create badass fighting games, Gootecks has the knowledge. Thank you. Hey, people know where to find me, man. It's just I don't spend a lot of time like going around telling people like, hey, like you should hire me to do this or that or whatever. The other thing is I don't know shit about development. All I know is what makes something good or what makes something work. but I don't have like a technical development background or anything like that. That shit. And that's why I prefer to work for the people. Because then everything, you know, then like we're in control, right? Like, oh, you don't like this? Oh, whatever. Fucking don't pay for it. Don't buy it. Turn it off. Don't click. Unfollow, mute, and block. That's fine. There's still, you know, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of other people out there that we can reach instead. You know, because it's just easier to sell. I mean, it's just easier to do things that way. I don't know. It works better for me. Yeah.
Final round. Go.
This motherfucker jumped over and supered. Sure, okay. Okay, alright, okay. Okay. Oh no! Oh.
There's the SPD. He's going to dash up.
Oh, no jump back. He has been so patient on defense. It's actually banking on it.
Ah, yeah, so, alright, stand medium punch +2. And let's see, what did he go into?
Buffer into the crack.
Early.
Totally don't mind just stealing all of Xian's shit.
Efficiently in the neutral, but that time the jump in was telegraphed. Look for the frame.
Oh, he went for the crush counter right there.
Thank you. We're just trying to democratize it. All right. Anyways, are we going to cut to commercial? I already forgot. All right, whatever. No, yeah, we're going to cut to commercial. All right, yeah, all right. We're going to cut to commercial. Oh, right. I'm pretty sure there's a Justin Wong video. Oh, please tell me Justin Wong video. GameStop. Cut the lights. Play Justin Wong.
How to get into the fighting game.
You win.
What kind of name is that? Very anonymous name. No waifu, no anime waifu in the profile photo. Are you like a productive member of society or something? You must be. You must be your own boss. This dude. Yeah. This dude's sending me $20 on a Friday afternoon without an anime waifu avatar. This guy's got his shit together. Thanks, Matt. So you get it. Uh-oh. Oh, shit. No. Uh-oh. I think the camera died. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Hold on, hold on. Yeah, we're back, hold on. Oh, sorry. Phone call. All right. Sorry about that. Minor details. The lost art of making phone calls. Anyways, what were we talking about? Something about something about staying consistent long enough to get to where you're going. Even if that means playing online until you can do whatever you need to do to travel or play offline. Am I watching Street Fighter League? No. Johnny Nitro 1234. Also, some people might naturally be better at fighting games, maybe, so they might be able to put in less effort and achieve the same or even more results to go pro. I mean, maybe, but what do you do if you're not one of those people? Number one, I don't really think that that's the way it works. But even if you did believe that that was the way that it worked, if you weren't genetically blessed with the ability to play fighting games, of which I think there are only now starting to be humans born maybe with that innate ability, because now, now there's, strong fighting game players that have children. But unless you're like a 3-year-old descended from a strong fighting game player, nobody has innate fighting game ability. Okay? But even if you did believe that that was so, you would also probably, the only way that you would think that is if you felt that somehow God had left you out of the, you didn't get the fighting game gene. But so what? That just means that you need to work harder. But, definitely, I think back to a conversation that me and Filipino Champ had outside Combo Fiend's place years and years ago. And, he just put it perfectly. He just said, hard work beats talent any day. And, if you're willing to just do the work and not stop and be consistent over a long period of time, you will get to where you want to be. Yeah, Lol Attack says, Daigo made it pretty clear in his book that he practiced like crazy and is a slow learner. Yes. See, there is no magic. The magic is consistency and discipline over a long period of time. I believe also in Daigo's book, he talked about how he would only take one day off a year or something. It was like Christmas or New Year's or something like that. Other than that, the day after he would win whatever major tournament that he had won, he's just back there in the arcade busting his ass. Why? Because the hunger, the consistency, the discipline, or the will to keep winning, as he would put it, was stronger than other people's. I thought about that part in his book specifically, where he was talking about, right after winning the tournament, just boom, right back onto the grind. Whereas, you know, he would mention that other people would win a tournament and then they take a break, or, you know, they relax for a bit. But, you know, in order to, it's not just about being the best, it's about maintaining your position as the best. Because a lot of people can get there, but far fewer can actually stay there. Oh, my books? The old book, Simplifying Street Fighter, and then the newer book that still is like, really needs to be updated, which I'm probably going to do on stream at some point. It's called Fighting Game Fundamentals. They're on Amazon Kindle. No, you don't need a Kindle device to read them. There's a Kindle app for every device: Windows, Mac, desktop, mobile, everything. There is a Kindle app. You can read the book. It is free if you have Kindle Unlimited. It is $5 whole if you don't. Enjoy it now. Future books will not be priced at $5. Mooney JKL says, I think you need to love what you're doing, then you can really excel. You need to fall in love with the process. If you can learn to love going in, watching your replays, making the notes to see what you could do better or differently next time, then do that in training mode. I mean, you know, work on that specific thing in training mode, and then work on the next couple specific things in training mode until you can do it, you know, with blocks set to random, or, you know, some sort of weird circumstances to make sure that you can actually do it on a moving target. You know, if you can fall in love with that process and just keep going, even if it's an hour a day, even if it's less than an hour a day, like if you're doing that type of focused, deliberate practice, you're way ahead of the curve, especially, you know, for most people that are playing online. How can you focus on practice if you can't focus your camera? All right, hold on. How's that? Is that better? FGC Linux says, yes, you have to have a passion for fighting games. If you're in it for the competitive aspect only, you will get burnt out and won't play at full potential. Yeah, like in my youth, I used to think that it was me versus the other guy. I used to think, man, I need to fuck this guy up because I fucking hate this guy because I don't like the way that he, whatever, XYZ. And now, you know, in more recent years, it's more like, it's not me versus the opponent. It's me versus me. It's how well can I control my emotions? How much time and effort am I willing to spend just doing the boring, like doing the quote unquote boring stuff, Practice the punishes, look at the frame data, like really work on those hit confirms, How long can you do that without just being tempted to just be like, oh fuck it, I just wanna go online, I just wanna fucking play some games. I just wanna play some games. I mean, obviously you have to play games, you have to play some games for sure. It's doing all of the other stuff that should make the games more fun and certainly more rewarding when you win. Because when you're just focused on improving like one tiny thing about your game at a time and working on that one thing and then taking that into a real match and then being able to focus just on that one thing, then you're not attached to the outcome because you understand that losing is a part of winning. There is nobody that you would consider a great player that has not had more losses than you probably have had total games in a lifetime. Losing is just part of the process. Oftentimes, the toughest losses are the ones where we have the most opportunity to learn and grow. But it's really easy to get attached to the outcome instead of being attached to the process of just incremental progress and sustained effort over a long period of time. Onche says, what keeps you motivated after a loss? The loss is what should keep you motivated, right? Especially if you lost, to somebody, you lost to a character you think sucks. You lost to an opponent that you just don't like that person for whatever reason. You lost because, whatever, you made some execution error, you couldn't move past it. Those are the things that should keep you going. Not, oh, I lost. How can I continue after this soul-crushing loss? Like all that energy just needs to be refocused and redirected. Like the toughest losses, those are the ones, you don't have to watch it back like right after, right? But the next day or the day after that, that loss is never going to sting worse than it does right after, in that the 5 minutes after you made it all the way to grand finals in winner's bracket and then got 6-0'd. It's never going to hurt more than after that first 5 minutes. After that first 5 minutes, it just hurts a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less. And the next day or the day after that, you watch that shit back And you're like, oh, yep, that was the moment. That's that one thing that if I had just known the situation, if I had just practiced, my execution, or if, or maybe it was just, oh, you guessed wrong. That happens too. But it's not, nobody remembers. In the grand scheme of things, nobody remembers those losses. They only remember the big wins if you actually get it to that point. Like, think of it this way, right? Daigo could never win another game in his life and will still be remembered for Evo Moment 37. That will be on his tombstone. Why? Because some glory, some types of glory far outweigh any sort of losses to, different people, tournaments, characters, whatever. Who cares? His legacy is cemented. C3 Cubed. Are there any books you can recommend or advice for building a stream or a brand with social media? If you're really looking to start doing all that stuff, then you can reach out to me. Send me an email, gutex@crosscounter.tv. How do you build your brand? Well, number one, I would say that if you seem to be struggling with stream viewership, just stop, because in my opinion, if you don't already have an audience, streaming has got to be, unless you're like, a really attractive gamer girl, you got the odds stacked against you. In my opinion, streaming is the least effective way to build an audience and the longest, most painful road to try to make it in content or gaming. Because you have to think that building a brand has got to be based on providing some sort of value. The vast majority of streamers and content on Twitch is one person sitting in their room playing video games. So it's difficult to generate value, right? Where's the value? What value does the viewer get from watching you, the unknown streamer, play video games in their room to an audience of half a dozen? Where's the value? What value do you provide that, the guy is getting hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of viewers at a time? What value are you providing that they are not? Obviously, they are providing a shit ton of value and have done so for a long period of time. So to me, you have to really think about how do you want to position yourself? and then take that value and hit all the other platforms first and try to stream last. You know? I mean, well, I mean, I guess one school of thought is you could use streaming on Twitch to just make content for YouTube. You could do that. You know, you got like 3 people watching and you're just like, oh yeah, just trying to get feedback from like a real life person as you're doing the creative process of creating YouTube content. I think it could work. But in the same way that in order to, you know, whatever, eventually be able to win fighting game tournaments from playing 1 hour a day, like it's going to be a long fucking road, you know? To me, it's way better to allocate 1 hour a day to content creation than try to like stream like 5 days a week, 8 hours a day or some bullshit. Like that's not sustainable. I mean, maybe it's sustainable if you're like in high school or something, you know, like if you're actually like a really, you know, if you're actually like a really young person with no responsibilities, I guess you could just grind it out for fucking 8 hours a day with like 3 viewers on Twitch and maybe eventually it would work. But why would you do it that way when there's like so many other ways to build an audience? You know, you have to think, what is it that makes you different from everybody else? Will tactics, let's see. Yeah, put your tits on stream, 100,000 views. Wait, where is it? Where's all the fucking... I don't know if I see it. Wait. Shit. Something's wrong with my, something's wrong with the alerts. Hold on, let me let me try to dig around. Oh man. I think I might be running out of juice here. Will Tactics wants to know desperately, what are your thoughts on Marvel Infinite? Did you play or like? Infinite was such a blow up. probably go down in history as one of the biggest bombs in gaming history. And it's not because the game itself wasn't fun. From a gameplay perspective, as a non-Marvel player, I was like, this is like, it took a long time. A couple of months, easy. Until I was like, oh man, like, I think I'm starting to get it. And then the game was dead. And it sucks, you know? It's not one thing that caused that game to fail. It was just so many things. Which is really unfortunate because, yeah, it was a lot of fun. But in a parallel universe, maybe it wasn't so bad. Yeah. I mean, not having the X-Men characters is definitely a thing. People thought like the game looked ugly or not very well polished. I don't know. I didn't really see it that way. I don't know. They just made a lot of poor decisions. Like everybody just made poor decisions. And it sucks, man. You know, like the homie Combo Fiend, you know, he busted his ass on that game. And from a gameplay perspective, dude, it was dope. It was so much fun. I didn't realize. Yeah. But I don't know. It had so much going against it. I mean, I think one of the other things that didn't help too is they did like the Battle for the Stones or Battle of the Stones series. It seemed like somehow both Marvel and Capcom hadn't actually decided or talked about what channel that all was going to be on. Because I don't know for sure. Don't quote me on this. I might be remembering wrong. Maybe it was just like a rumor. But I'm pretty sure they made the new channel for it because it was like the only fair way to split the ad rev or the sub rev or whatever the fuck. As opposed to just having it on the Capcom Fighters channel, which they had already been building and growing for a couple of years, but for several years by then. But they decided to make a whole new channel for Battle for the Stones. And so the viewership was not very good because, I don't know, somebody's greed got the best of them, seemed like. I mean, to start a brand new channel when you already had another channel with tens of thousands or like 100,000s of followers, why would you do that? Right? Like greed? What? Like, what? Disney needed the money? For what? But there's actually a really good YouTube video. If you just look up like MVCI, why did it fail or something like that, there's some video on YouTube that's got like 1 million something plus views that really lays it all out pretty well. Oh yeah, Asian Beefcake says, it felt like they really tried to pay off influencers to promote it, and I think everyone could smell that, and it was off-putting. You know what's funny? I don't actually think they really paid anybody. I think they were definitely like, there was a lot of shilling, but I don't think it was paid shilling. It was sort of, God, it was like people were trying to pump it up like like it was crypto or like a penny stock or something. Not because they were getting paid up front, but because of the future earnings potential if the game actually was a success. But the reality is that the players that were like shilling for it, that's not what killed it. That's just one of like a dozen things that collectively led to it, you know, bombing. But I think the biggest nail in the coffin, my opinion, if I had to pick one thing, I would say that it was probably the astronomical licensing fee that Disney wanted from Capcom for all the relevant characters, plus not being able, like, let's say having to go to 20th Century Fox for X-Men rights. I believe, my understanding, if I recall correctly, was that 20th Century Fox was always going to be like, no, fuck you, because it's not about Capcom or fighting games. It's about keeping X-Men away from Marvel, because at some point Marvel sold off the rights to 20th Century Fox, the movie rights. And if they were to, I think from a 20th Century Fox perspective, if they were to have the X-Men in there in a video game with the other Marvel characters, then people would start to expect that from the movies, which obviously was not going to happen. Oh, they have the rights back now? Okay, well, yeah. All right, so they got the rights back now. Hey, so maybe Marvel vs. Capcom 4 or 5 or whatever the fuck, on PlayStation 7. I don't know. Oh. Yeah, Mooney JKL says should have put Magneto in it and not justify Ultron as plays like Magneto. Yeah. I mean, there is definitely something magical about about the X-Men IP. There really is. And it's a shame, like X-Men Children of the Atom literally started, the entire concept of versus games, chain combos, air dashers, shit like that. And, we just, maybe not anymore as much, but for a time, and probably still today, I mean, there's just a lot of corporate interests out there that outweigh you know, in my opinion, what was best for the fans. Because really, like, who was the big winner and loser from with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite? Who won? It wasn't. It certainly was not Cross Counter. Let me tell you that. Capcom lost. Marvel lost. But because of their mentality or whatever, the real losers was all of us. All of the players, the fans. We suffered because what? Some big, ginormous corporate conglomerate wanted a really, 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 really exorbitant licensing fee that was probably detrimental to the development of the game because they had less money to spend on the art or the animation. Oh my God. And then what they did, oh my God, the story mode. What was that fucking garbage, right? Oh my God. I don't think, it's not only Capcom that lost because dude, the money that Marvel made on the licensing, I just don't think that was like, why, if you're in licensing, right? You're going to license your IP out to, to companies that want to use the IP to sell different types of products, merch, games, fucking lunchboxes, whatever. You don't, the licensor, as a licensor, you want the licensee to make money on the deal, on the products that they sell from, paying for the license. You want them to make money so that they can come back when the deal is done and do another deal and you get more money. Because the way that licensing works is you need to put up your MG, your minimum guarantee, right? However much that is, obviously, depends on the product, the licensor, or whatever. But you put that money up first. This is the minimum guarantee that the licensor will receive from licensing the IP to the licensee, right? So you don't want the minimum guarantee to be the maximum guarantee. You want the minimum guarantee to be just the tip of the iceberg, because the deal, you still need to leave enough meat on the bone for the licensee to be like, all right, yeah, like we put up the money for the minimum guarantee and we still paid a percentage of each unit that was sold and we still made money and we want to come back for more. That's what you want. But, can't have shit around here. If Marvel was trying to shill the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they probably should not have charged so much money. Because if they didn't, the game would be being played right now, shilling the Marvel Cinematic Universe instead of having died 2 years ago, right? Infinite could have been a perpetual Marvel Cinematic Universe shilling machine. Easy. In the same way that when with Mortal Kombat, right? like there's a stage that advertises Combo Breaker, right? In Street Fighter, if you got sponsored content on, now before you go into a match, what do you see? Capcom Cup, December 13th through 15th, the Novo Theater, Los Angeles, California, you know? Like, Infinite could be that, except selling fucking tickets, right? Oh, buy 2 tickets to the, you know, whatever, special exclusive offer to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite players. You know, buy these 2 tickets to Endgame and get this special Thanos whatever costume. How hard is that? But they didn't. Like, it's so fucking obvious. Like, if everybody had just not been so goddamn greedy, that thing would still be making money for everybody today. There was so much potential. Yeah. What a waste, right? Yeah, this game with great gameplay had the potential to have an amazing roster, and it would have been a cash cow for everybody. To have that game with the roster that it deserved, with the graphics that it deserved, yeah. I seem very tired of this FGC thing. It's not that I'm tired of it, it's just I think I've just been doing it long enough where I don't know. That's how you know you're a professional, right? Like, when you're just fucking old and jaded. I mean, whatever. I'm just glad, hey, you know what? Out of everybody, you know, we definitely invested a fair amount of resources, but I know we didn't get burned as much as a lot of other people did. So... Right, yes, exactly. The problem is I actually care. The problem is, like, it just seems so painfully obvious, but it's like, I mean, in case you haven't realized, like, people like me, people like us, we don't get any fucking say in this. You know that, right? We don't get any fucking say. And that's why it's frustrating and also liberating, right? Because, you know, I don't know. Like, I always think about, like, oh, well, like, you don't need to worry about offending sponsors if you don't have any. Yeah. Like, nobody ever asks me, hey, Gootecks, what do we need to do to make sure our fighting game succeeds? Hey, Gootecks, what do we need to do in order to enter the FGC successfully? You know? I mean, I'm not saying I got all the answers, but I certainly have more answers than a lot of these people that are making these questionable decisions sometimes. Well, I'm out of juice. I guess we spent a good amount of time working on training stuff. Feel like we got some good questions. Maybe they'll turn into their own videos someday. But I'm going to call it. So, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for sticking around. If you are a subscriber, thanks for your support. If you ain't got no money, that's okay. Hit the follow button. Hit the bell icon. Make sure you get notified next time we go live. Yeah, should be back tomorrow. I guess the moral of the story is stay consistent over a long period of time. And I don't know, don't be greedy. Anyways, thank you. All of you. You, and you. Yeah, I don't know. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, @Gootecks, GOOTECKS. And we will see you guys next time. Bye! Watch these ads, though.